What is going on, all my haunted followers? I just want to say hello to all my new subscribers. Guys, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done that yet, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and subscribe to my videos. Guys, I have a whole bunch of new stories coming out soon, so like and subscribe right at the bottom. Guys, we all hated high school. Who liked school, right? But these three stories, they really had a much tougher time than we did. I chose these three stories. I wanted to do a little bit more, but because of the length of the stories, I really was willing to do three. I do apologize for anyone who sent me a story. I had a whole bunch of stories. If your story didn't make it into this video, it will the next time. I'll be doing another video because I got so much different stories. But again, I only chose these three because they were so long, and I think that these were some of the scariest I read. So here it is, 3 haunted high school stories. They always say, if you love your job, you'll never leave it. Well, this story has never been so true. My name is James, and this happened to me and several others while we were in high school. But mainly to me because I was really close to the teacher. His name was Mr. Adams, but everyone called him the Hulk because he was a pretty big guy, and he was a high school's wrestling coach and gym teacher. He also was our basketball coach. Mr. Adams was the nicest guy you will ever meet. When I started to play basketball, I struggled a little bit more than everyone else, and Mr. Adams, on his own free time, coached me to become a better player. He always told me he believed in me, and that always made me feel a lot better about playing the game, because I really wanted to become a good basketball player. Unfortunately, good times always come to an end. One Friday night during one of our basketball games, I saw Mr. Adams collapse on the floor. Within just minutes, he was standing there, and he fell. It seemed like seconds that the paramedics were there and brought him to the hospital. Unfortunately, Mr. Adams passed away that night, and I was struck with grief for weeks. I was just in total shock. It was almost like losing a father figure in my life. But that's when stuff started getting really weird. This first happened to me one night. I was in the locker room by myself, getting dressed, after one of our games. Now, at that moment, I was a little bit in my own world, and I heard my name being whispered. Big J. Yeah, what's up? I responded. However, at that moment, my blood ran cool, because the only person to call me Big J was Mr. Adams. I looked up, looking around in the near darkened locker room, but no one was there, so I thought, some guys are playing a joke on me. A sick joke, but a joke. Okay, guys, real funny. This time, it was right next to me. I turned my shoulder to see a figure in the hallway of the showers. It was a big figure, like Mr. Adams' figure. And it just vanished. I ran so fast out of that locker room, I nearly forgot my shoes. The second incident occurred several weeks later. I was by myself in the gym, and I was just shooting a few hoops. I had missed the net, and the ball bounced off the backboard. And the ball rolled away, and I watched it roll away into the locker rooms. Of course, frustrated, and I started to head that way, until I saw the ball bounce back to me. Now, before anyone says it, it didn't hit a wall. It wasn't moving that quickly, and there's no wall there. And the way the ball bounced was almost as if someone threw it to me. And that's when I heard someone from behind me say, "You got this, Big J." The voice. It was Mr. Adams' voice. I was just frozen. I couldn't move or talk. I didn't know what to say. I just took off and ran to my car. Without even looking back, without even thinking, I left that gym that night. The last incident was the most terrifying of them all. I had joined the swim class my senior year, just because. Now, there hadn't been any incidents for over a year, and summer break came and gone. One night, I was doing laps in the pool with another teammate. At some point, he had gone out to use the bathroom. As I dove under and I came back up, I was facing the bleachers. And that's when I saw him. Mr. Adams, just sitting in the bleachers. He looked so very sad. I had my goggles on, so it took me a couple seconds to focus. This time, he was there, and he wasn't vanishing. At that point, I really couldn't run. I didn't want to yell, and I couldn't even swim away. So, I talked to him. Mr. Adams? You left the big team, Big J. Why? I just couldn't keep playing. I miss you, Mr. Adams. I'm sorry. Never give up, Big J. Never give in. All of a sudden, I felt something tap my shoulder. Who are you talking to? My teammate said. Then I turned around, and he was gone. Mr. Adams was gone. He wasn't at the bleachers anymore. I didn't tell my teammate, and I never told anyone the story. Until now. But after that, I felt he was at peace. And wherever you are, Mr. Adams, thank you. I know no one is going to believe this story, but I have no reason to make it up. And I had seen your channel and that you were looking for haunted school stories. Now, you can share this if you would like, but the events that took place are still real to me. Back when I was in high school, and that was about 10 years ago, my school was one of the oldest in the state. I think it dated back to the early 1800s or something. I'm sorry, and I just won't give up my location. So, this happened to me when I was in my freshman year. Again, the school was very old, so the school was... Anyways, the school would always give me the creeps, and not just me. Anyone who went to the school would tell you the same. The one thing I would say the most active was the east side of the school. See, this is rumors, or merely rumors, that back in the early 20s, 2 boys hung themselves. This happened within a week of themselves. I believe it was due to bullying or something. Again, this is just rumors. I keep getting off track. So, one day, I had to use a bathroom. I asked the teacher for a hall pass and traveled my way to the other side of the building. Now, this side was completely unoccupied. You actually had to go outside, travel through 3 sets of doors, and down another flight of stairs. God help anyone who had a bathroom emergency. So, I get to the east side of the building, and I'm already creeped out. I was just thinking to myself, do your business, and run back. So, I get into the bathroom, and do what I went there for. When I hear someone walking down the hall. Now, it's deadly quiet, and you can hear a pin drop. Maybe due to the stone structure or something. I don't know. I thought, not unusual. Then the person entered the bathroom. Again, not unusual. I was using the urinal when I heard or actually felt someone pass by me. So I get done, flushed, and started washing my hands. As I'm washing my hands, I take notice of something. I'm alone in the bathroom. We only have 2 stalls and 1 urinal. I know I heard someone walk in and walk past me. I looked down just to confirm, but all the stall doors were opened, unoccupied. Okay, I say. Then the light started to flicker, so I run to the door. I won't lie, I'm a chicken when it comes to this stuff. I go to pull the door open, and it won't budge. I mean, I got it halfway open, but someone was holding the door. And then, the lights turned off. I'm about to scream at this point, and I nearly started crying when I felt someone come up behind me and grab my arm. Ice cold hands grab my arm. I scream at the top of my lungs. I probably sound like a girl at that point. I am fighting to get this door open, and then I hear it. Him. A boy laughing coming from behind me. I'm gonna get you. Here I come. I'm screaming help at this point, crying. All I could think about was that ghost killing me. Then, the bathroom door suddenly burst open. It was the janitor, who absolutely looked terrified and confused. What the heck's going on here? Are you okay? I felt like a little kid again, almost rushing into him. Something was in there, I told him. The janitor walked into the bathroom, came back out. Nice joke, kid. You're the only one in there. I looked at him, as serious as possible. I'm not kidding. The janitor then confused, nodding his head. You heard him, didn't you? Go back to class. I never told anyone, not even my parents. I had nightmares for weeks about this blonde, long-haired boy grabbing me from the darkness with dead-looking eyes and killing me. Well, here's a kicker to the story. Several months ago, I did research. That so-called rumor was true. Two boys did hang themselves on a pact that they would come back and haunt all the bullies that had bullied them. I was absolutely shocked when I saw a picture of one of the boys. He had long hair, and it was blonde. Anyone and everyone can tell me the story is false. I don't care what you think. You didn't go through it. To this day, I still can't sleep with the light off. I know everyone has a story about high school, but mine is out of a very frightening experience. And coming from someone who went to school and then was employed several months after graduating. Now, I know what I was saying. How do you take a gross job like that? But I can tell you, we don't get enough respect. If you haven't figured it out, I'm a janitor. Now, when I was going to school, there was rumors about the basement, but I actually had some truth to it. Apparently, back in the 50s, there was a really bad fire, taking the lives of 3 janitors. This is an actual true story. All 3 were killed when a boiler exploded, doing a good amount of damage, and several students were hurt in the explosion, and the school was closed for a period. Several years after the incident, remodeling and construction, the school was finally reopened. But I also didn't believe in a lot of the supposed stories, as I never once witnessed anything during my time. Heck, I even went down there in the basement my freshman year to retrieve some supplies, and nothing happened to me. Anyways, getting back into it. Several weeks into the job, I would notice little things, missing tools, strange noises, but nothing I would chalk up to being a ghost. Typically, due to the size of the school, there was usually 4 janitors on at a time, including my boss, or the head janitor. One day, due to a snowstorm, almost everyone but myself and my boss called out. So it was just the 2 of us. School was canceled, but someone had to be there. The shift started out normal, cleaning the restrooms, polishing the floors, checking the temperatures on the boilers. I was down in the boiler room by myself. If I didn't mention, the boiler room was built on the old one. I'm not joking, you can still see the burn marks from the old explosion. Now I was running up the temperature on the boilers when I heard a noise from behind me. It sounded like someone was picking up a hammer and started banging on the pipes in the boilers. Thinking it was my boss, so I turned around to tell him something, but no one was there. I kid you not. My hammer just dropped to the ground, almost as if someone was holding it and just dropped it. I know it wasn't my boss because he was on the other side of the building at the moment. I tried thinking rationally as possible and kind of just shook it off. My second incident, I was around the workshop, I was cutting a piece of metal, and as I was cutting, I felt someone come behind me, and then turn the machine off. And I turned around thinking it was one of the guys messing with me, but no one was there. And you have to flip a big switch to turn the machine off. This time, I questioned the incident, but again, I wasn't thinking it was paranormal. My third incident that occurred was absolutely terrifying. I had gone home realizing I had forgotten my cell phone, possibly on one of the benches. Yes, I could have gone without it, but I'm only 5 minutes away and I really hate not having it. So I drive back to school and enter the front entrance. I make my way to the shop when I notice an older looking gentleman, maybe 40 feet up the hallway. Now it was dark, but I'm sure it was a person. I see them dip into the workroom. Thinking maybe it was my boss, I made my way there. I opened the door. No one was there, so I see my cell phone and grab it. I go to turn around, and right in front of me is this guy. His face was all messed up. It just looked like he got burnt or something. His clothes were still charred and smoldering, and then he just vanished. I ran out of there and sprinted back to my car. I ended up calling out the next day. I was so terrified. I really couldn't tell anyone, not even my girlfriend, but I had to go back to work. So I got my courage and went back. Weeks went out without incident, until one day I was in the boiler room, and I smelled this awful smell. It smelled like burnt meat. I know, gross. Then, in the hallway in front of me, I saw two figures standing there. They looked absolutely angry, but they were smoldering, almost on fire. They started walking my way. They got about 10 feet away from me, and I could see their burnt faces and clothing. I blacked out, and I was awoken several minutes later by my boss, and I was rushed to the hospital with a small head injury. I was out of work for about 2 weeks, and unfortunately, I just couldn't return. I have many more stories for you, but this is my experience at that school that I'll never forget. Well, my haunted followers, I hope that you enjoyed those stories. They were some frightening ones. The story about the gym teacher, it really goes to show you that I think sometimes spirits don't move on until they want to leave a message behind. They have a message for someone. They can't move on until they leave that message. And seemingly, it seems like Mr. Adams seemed like he was, he wanted to leave that message for you. He wants to tell you that he was proud of you. That's what it seemed like to me. And he was able to move on after that. That's why I think he felt that kind of at peace at that point. The two boys' spirits, that is definitely a frightening experience. I think that if the story is true and these two boys really had committed suicide on some type of pact, that they want to come back and torment others, I think once they had gotten to like their spirit form, or they moved on, and then when they died, they had that power to do so, and they use that against the living. It doesn't matter who. I think that they became the bullies, which it's not really that good. I mean, it doesn't prove anything, even after death. The spirits that were told about the boiler room story, I don't think they were trying to scare you. I've said this before in a lot of videos. A lot of spirits, seemingly, it seems like they're trying to scare you, or they seem frightening, but they're really not trying to frighten you. They're trying to get a message across, and that's what it seemed like they were trying to do. They're just trying to get a message across to you. I don't think they can control the way they look either. It didn't seem anything scary. Or they weren't trying to scare you, and I'm sorry that maybe it seemed that way, but I don't think they were trying to scare you. So guys, I hope that you like those stories. Next time, looking for Bigfoot stories, your encounters with Bigfoot. That's what's going to be next. Send those stories in at alexuni101@gmail.com. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and send in more stories. I don't care for what stories it is. I'll have future videos. So if you have a haunted story, ghost stories, Bigfoot stories, whatever. But again, I'm looking for Bigfoot stories next. And happy hauntings, guys.